There are moments in automotive history that split time in two, the before and the after. Moments when technology, culture, and ambition collide so perfectly that the entire world has to take notice. For the electric vehicle, that moment had a name, and that name was the Tesla Model S. But this isn't just a story about a car, it's a story about how one vehicle took on an entire century of gasoline, rewrote the rules, and forced the world's biggest automakers to start over from zero. This is the EV that changed everything. Chapter 1. The world before electricity. Before Tesla, electric cars were a joke. They were slow, boring, and looked like something your science teacher would drive. For decades, the idea of an electric car meant compromise, tiny range, no performance, and a price tag that made no sense. Automakers had experimented before. GM had the EV1 in the 1990s. Nissan had small city EVs. Toyota had hybrids. But nobody truly believed electric cars could replace gasoline. Even enthusiasts laughed at the idea. Electric cars were for idealists, not drivers. But in 2008, a small startup in California decided to change that perception forever. Their first car, the Tesla Roadster, proved something incredible. Electric didn't have to mean boring. It could be fast, it could be fun. And with that realization, the stage was set for revolution. Chapter 2. The arrival of the Model S. In 2012, Tesla unveiled a car that didn't just challenge the status quo, it obliterated it. The Tesla Model S looked like a luxury sedan, but underneath it was something completely new. No gas tank, no exhaust, no transmission, just instant torque, silent power, and a range that crushed every EV before it. For the first time, an electric car could travel more than 250 miles on a single charge, and do it while out-accelerating a Ferrari. 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, all with nothing but electrons. The world had never seen anything like it, and the best part? It didn't look like a science project. It was sleek, minimalist, and futuristic. The kind of car that made even gasoline lovers turn their heads. Chapter 3. The Ripple Effect. The Model S wasn't just a car, it was a message to the entire auto industry that the future had arrived. Suddenly, people who had never cared about EVs started to pay attention. Tech enthusiasts, early adopters, celebrities, engineers, they all wanted in. Tesla had made electric cars cool, but the real disruption came when the established giants, companies like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, realized something terrifying. A Silicon Valley startup had just beaten them at their own game. Within months, every major automaker began pouring billions into electric research. Factories were retooled, engineers were reassigned, concept cars were rushed to production. The race had officially begun. Chapter 4. The Power of Performance. What made the Model S truly revolutionary wasn't just its range, it was its power. Tesla proved that electric motors could deliver performance no internal combustion engine could match. Instant torque, zero lag, no gears, no revs, just pure acceleration. It wasn't mechanical, it was digital power. When Tesla launched the Model SP 100D with ludicrous mode, it changed the performance world forever. Here was a 5-seat family sedan that could outrun million-dollar supercars quietly. The world laughed when Tesla said ludicrous mode. Then they saw the numbers and stopped laughing. Drag strips, racetracks, YouTube channels, everyone wanted to test the impossible. And time after time, the Tesla won. Chapter 5. The Redefinition of Luxury. Luxury had always been about leather, wood, and chrome, but Tesla changed the definition. Inside the Model S, there were no buttons, just a massive touchscreen, no gauges, no clutter, only calm digital simplicity. Critics called it strange. Owners called it the future. Over-the-air updates made the car smarter over time, something no other automaker had ever done. Your car could literally get new features while you slept. And then there was autopilot. For the first time, a production car could steer, accelerate, and brake on its own, turning the Model S into the foundation of the self-driving revolution. Luxury wasn't just about comfort anymore, it was about intelligence. Chapter 6. The infrastructure revolution. Tesla didn't just build a car, it built an ecosystem. Because to change the world, a car alone wasn't enough. You needed charging stations, you needed batteries, you needed energy. So Tesla built the supercharger network, a global web of fast chargers that made long-distance electric travel possible. In a world where range anxiety used to be the biggest fear, Tesla gave people confidence. They could now drive cross-country on nothing but electricity. No one else had dared to think that big, and because of that, Tesla didn't just sell cars, it sold belief. Chapter 7. The industry shifts. The Model S forced the world to change. It wasn't optional anymore. GM, Ford, Volkswagen, Porsche, BMW, they all started electrifying their fleets. Suddenly, the same companies that once mocked EVs were racing to catch up. Governments began passing laws to phase out combustion engines. Cities started planning for electric infrastructure. Investors shifted billions toward renewable energy. It was like watching a century-old machine wake up and realize the world had moved on, and it all started with one car. Chapter 8. The cultural shift. But the real impact wasn't mechanical or political, it was cultural. Owning a Model S wasn't just owning a car, it was making a statement. It said you cared about the future, about technology, about progress. Suddenly, electric wasn't weird, it was aspirational. People began talking about range, charging, and software updates like they talked about horsepower and cylinders. Car culture itself evolved. The smell of gasoline was replaced by the sound of silence and the thrill of instant acceleration. And for the first time in decades, a new generation fell in love with driving again, not because of noise, but because of innovation. Chapter 9. The legacy of change. The Model S wasn't perfect. It had flaws, recalls, controversies, and critics. But none of that mattered in the long run, because it achieved what no car before it had ever done. It made the future inevitable. It proved that electric cars could be fast, beautiful, and desirable. It showed that innovation didn't have to come from Detroit, Stuttgart, or Tokyo. It could come from a startup with a dream. And it gave birth to a movement that redefined transportation, sustainability, and design. Today, every EV, from a Lucid Air to a Porsche Taycan, owes something to the Model S. Even the doubters eventually had to follow. Chapter 10. Beyond the revolution. Now, more than a decade later, we live in the world the Model S created. Electric vehicles are no longer the future, they're the present. Cities hum with quiet EVs charging networks stretch across continents. And almost every major car maker has pledged to go fully electric within the next decade. But while the industry moves forward, the Model S still stands as a symbol, a reminder of how quickly everything can change when innovation meets belief. It wasn't just an electric car, it was a spark that ignited a global transformation. Because the truth is, the EV that changed everything didn't just change how we drive, it changed how we think about what's possible. Every generation has its turning point. For the automobile, that turning point came on a quiet road. When someone pressed the accelerator on a Model S, felt that instant surge of power, and realized this isn't the end of driving, it's the beginning of something new. The future arrived on 4 silent wheels, and it all started with the EV that changed everything.